You're not here by accident or by chance. You are here by the grace of God. You've been given a gift. Now it remains to be seen whether you choose to embrace it. I did not ask for this. I was chosen.
The greatest masters and achievers in human history all experienced a sense of calling and destiny. They claim to follow an inner voice that guides them forward in life, as if they were chosen and destined to achieve what they had to accomplish in their short time on earth. They willingly and religiously devoted their life into their life's work, making valuable contributions to the world and advancing the human culture. Joseph Seed was right. We are not here by accident or by chance. Scientists estimated that the chance of us being born and existing as an individual are about 1 in 400 trillion. Each of us is a highly unique individual with one-of-a-kind configuration of DNA, particular character of the brain, and experiences shaping who we are today that are unlike any others. This uniqueness must have a purpose. By cultivating and allowing this seed of uniqueness to grow, it will lead us onto a unique path to follow. That is the path towards becoming a complete individual. The greatest masters of the world became who they were meant to be, only because they chose to embrace their gift. You have been given your uniqueness as a gift as well. If you haven't discovered what it is, don't worry. Start being more aware and pay attention to what draws your interest. Famous psychologist Jordan Peterson mentioned that your attention is led by your future self. We cannot explain why we are drawn to certain subjects. They are almost like our future self, beckoning us to follow the path. By investing in our passions and actively developing them into specialized skills, even combining several skills into one unique package, we are embracing our gift that will help us discover the best version of ourselves. That's what gives us meaning in life, to become an irreplaceable individual. Just like Greg Brick heeded his calling of becoming a great actor, so he was chosen to be the father in Far Cry 5.
We have forgotten what it is to be strong. Cull the herd.
The ancient people in our history well understood the necessity of sacrifice. Stories in the Old Testament of the Bible and strategies in Sun Tzu's Art of War provided plenty of examples about sacrifice. With technology advancing so quickly from the 19th century, science seemed to be the main driving force of humanity, and religion seemed to gradually grow out of fashion. Science and religion became increasingly polarized. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche declared his most famous line, "God is dead," in 1884, showing his concern that human beings had killed God. With our scientific revolution, today, we easily take for granted the comfort and fun of playing Far Cry 5 in front of a 65-inch TV in a cozy apartment living room. We certainly forgot how tough our ancestors were to survive in the wild. We have forgotten how to be strong, forgotten we are here with a purpose to fulfill. Jacob Seed in Far Cry 5 repeatedly showed his disdain for the materialistic lifestyle of the modern capitalist society. After surviving the Gulf War, he firmly believed that his purpose was to fulfill the will of Joseph Seed, to prepare the Eden's Gate for the collapse which the father had prophesied. In order to make this happen, he believed all humans had to go back to the roots and basic way of living, to have faith in God again, stripping away every piece of unnecessary attachments and even killing all the weak people for the greater good, culling the herd. Jacob was a crazy and archaic character who had gone too extreme, but his philosophy might actually be useful to us if we could apply it to ourselves psychologically. If we think about our own personal development, there is always a better version of ourselves waiting for us to tap into, but we generally take longer than necessary to move forward and take action because we are holding on to our old habits and thinking that made us feel secure and comfortable. Our fear of the unknown and even the devil's discouragement might also be stopping us. Jacob's philosophy might work here if we think of our old unwanted habits, beliefs, and fear as our weak selves. We have to sacrifice that to kill the old self that we were so in love with and holding on to. Kill it, cull the herd, move forward, and be strong.
And in that acceptance came clarity.
Jacob Seed told his war story to our protagonist, the deputy, after capturing and imprisoning him into a cell. What happened during his deployment in the First Gulf War changed his life forever. Jacob and his squadmate, Mila, got separated from their SEAL unit after an ambush. They were lost in the desert with no food, no water, no radio. After 8 days of walking, the wolves were closing in, and Jacob knew they were as good as dead. He accepted that, and with his acceptance came clarity. He justified cannibalizing his squadmate as an act of sacrifice of the weak that would allow him to survive walking out of the desert and later bring him to serve the purpose of the father, Joseph's seed. That was all fucked up. Jacob could have tried hunting with his expert survival skills instead of killing his own friend. It certainly wasn't what he wanted to do. He claimed that it was what he had to do. That was his test. Anyway, that was all in the past and no one can change what happened in the past. The point I'm trying to make here is that if something happens to us that we wish it had not happened, the only thing we can change is our opinion. To accept what happened, to even feel gratitude and love towards everything that happens. Nietzsche defined this idea as amor fati, a love of fate. Acceptance and love of what happens brings clarity and joy. But of course, if you're not a psychopath like Jacob, accepting to commit evil crimes will hurt your conscience and make yourself tormented by unbearable guilt.
I spent my entire life looking for more things to say yes to.
John Seed was a yes man. That's why he was so loved by the cult leader Joseph Seed and the brothers and sisters of Eden Gates. His philosophy might sound very positive, motivating, and even inspiring, but if you ask me if we should follow this advice for life or not, I would say both yes and no, depending on what are the things to say yes to. As mentioned in the first point, we are all born unique with a purpose and calling to fulfill. If we accept this, we are embracing our gift and welcoming the call to adventure towards our hero's journey. On this path of becoming the hero of our true self, we face many demons and temptations and distractions that want to lure us off our path. We must be vigilant and able to identify and say no to those time-consuming shit that tend to drive us into an obsession or addiction. Because if we are not careful, those seemingly small impulses will keep us chained and enslaved in our status quo. So start saying no to all the things that have nothing to do with our calling. Shoot to kill all the demons so that we can make room for saying yes to the things that truly matter, that advances us towards the hero of our true self and to the calling of our Father. How does that sound, John? I guess you won't hear me, because when you were so busy trying to get people to say yes all the time, you got yourself killed. What a disgrace.
But God is watching us, and He will judge us on what we choose in this moment.
Do you dare to say that you believe in God? God can mean many different things to many people. Everyone has a different definition of God. To some people, God is Jesus Christ. Some people think God is the mysterious power of the universe. To some people, the sun is their God. I have no right to judge your answer. The truth is whether you are a believer or not. An inner God exists within every one of us. Famous Swiss psychologist Carl Jung had this insight: the highest ideal that a person holds, consciously or unconsciously, that is their God. In other words, it could be the best possible version of ourselves that we can conceptualize. That's who we should strive to become, who we are meant to be in this life. Even if you're not religious, psychologically there is a part of our brain that automatically keeps track of our current status, operating in an unconscious level and constantly comparing it with what is qualitatively better to our highest ideal. For example, if we unknowingly made choices that drove us further away from our highest ideal, we might not know it at that moment yet, but eventually we will feel the sting of our conscience. So, if we could start living our lives with careful observations and awareness of ourselves in every moment, to make choices and act truthfully according to the realization of our highest ideal, maybe we can be one step closer to God every day. Living in this way, there is no need to fear judgment if what we choose from moment to moment is responsible and righteous. Thank you for watching. If you like our idea of combining video game wisdom and inspirational video game music with motivation, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Be an inspired gamer. And Miseyxo. See you in our next video.